Would you like a coffee?
Where's the dog?
Dog?
The dog, loser! You took the dog!
That's right, you get all of this.
Where's the dog?
Hi, I'm Ordinary Dreamer, and unfortunately, I have to talk about this Love in Deep Space situation because, y'all, it's been absolutely bonkers. I just really want to document this moment because I fear this is definitely going to be one of those situations where it's like, oh, you just had to be there when it happened. This has just been such a ridiculous situation to experience in real time because it just keeps getting messier and messier, and there's so much confusion, and it's just like, what is happening? Where are we going? What are we doing? What's going on? If you have not heard or do not know what Love in Deep Space is, well, congratulations on being employed. Get that 401k match, girly. Fear not, because I am here to partially explain, but also just kind of talk about what's been happening, because unfortunately, this situation has breached containment, which, you know, might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. It's all in the eye of the beholder. Just to like give some credibility to where I stand in this situation. I am in fact a lads player. I play Love in Deep Space, and I have been since day one. I've been playing this game since its release back in 2024. According to the little widget I have been playing this game for about 2.5 years now. I don't know why this cat is so freaking emo. Like, relax, dude. I have a job. I've been around for every banner, and I honestly could name you all of them. I've been around for every new character update, new story update. I've been around and I've been lurking in the shadows of the fandom, so I know all the bits, I know all the jokes, I know all the tea. I am very familiar with the ins and outs of this game. Who is my main, you ask? Why, it's Raphael, obviously. Sometimes I will alternate side listen if the combat of the hunter contest demands it. Combat? Why, yes, there is combat involved in this game. A lot of people don't actually know what is involved in Love in Deep Space. Girl, there is so much to it that technically you should never be bored, but you still are. There's combat, there's story. They just recently came out with a house update, and it's basically like The Sims. The storage for it is absolutely insane. At some point, I was planning on making a video just kind of talking about Love in Deep Space as a whole, breaking down the different characters, the story, because there is a story to it, and all the different features involved with it. Who knows if I will still do that, because the way this whole game is playing out right now, it's not looking good, babes. So what is the drama? What is the tea? Well, on June 22nd of 2026, a teaser trailer was dropped for a new character, a new love interest, a new lead. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw this teaser, I immediately was like, oh my God, bro, what? The new character, his name is Valco. He is a werewolf? But not just that, he is the alpha. He's the alpha of his werewolf clan. But not just that, he's also the CEO of a company at the ripe age of what, 24, 26? I don't care, he's young. He's all these things combined. And for that trifecta, I just was like, oh my God, this is so goofy. They're really going for every trope under the sun. Okay. I just thought, wow, this is so silly. I'm really intrigued to see where this goes. And I think for the most part, a lot of people either had similar reactions or they were outright excited for it. Fast forward a couple days to June 25th. This is when we get the actual announcement of Valco coming as a new lead. Oh my God. In this announcement, they played several trailers in regards to what Valco and MC, the main character, you are in the game. It's a YN situation, like most dating simulators, but everyone just kind of calls the player MC. The announcement had different trailers pertaining to what their relationship would kind of look like in the beginning, and then when they actually get to bond and like fall in love. And it also showed what his combat style was like, along with some of the different cards you can get related to him and what playing in the game would look like when you interact with him, because like I said, this game has combat and story, but also it's got fun little dating features. So like you can go and meet your mans and you could sit down and you could chat with him about things. You can mess around and like play with him a little bit. Also, they have a fun little like timer section where you have different options to like sort of set your phone aside. You're with him and you're working together. So like you can be studying, you can be exercising, you can be sleeping. They showed all these things in the announcement along with some other new updates to the home, like this fucking kitchen, oh my God. And as far as I can tell, like I said, everyone was getting a little bit more excited. This is still so goofy, because what do you mean he imprinted on her? Oh my God. Not only that, Love in Deep Space was also gonna have a booth at Anime Expo. There was gonna be cosplayer interactions where you could have all of the characters, including Valco. So it's very exciting.
For the sake of not letting this become lost media, I just want to add that in the original announcement that Lads was having a booth at Anime Expo, at the end of that carousel, there's a fun There's this fun little activity that people could do if they were going to Anime Expo. And the activity was, if you saw a Lads employee with wolf ears and you went up to them and gave them the secret code, you could get a fun little freebie surprise gift thing. And the secret code that you were expected to give was a woo. Obviously, that never happened because they took a while Valco. That whole endeavor was fruitless in the end. But when I read that, I was dying. Like, what do you mean I'm gonna go up to some random employee, some poor volunteer, and just go, oh, which I was gonna do, mind you, for the bit, because that being a Lads player is a humiliation ritual, I swear to God.
People wanted to see what was in store for this guy. Unfortunately, that never happened. 5 days later, on June 30th, we get the news that Valco was canceled. And as far as I can tell, everyone was so confused. We were like, where is this coming from? Why is this happening? And sure, the release had several reasons as to what they were gonna do moving forward and as to why this happened, which we'll get into. Everyone was very upset. The global fans were outraged because they were so ready for this. And at this point, at least for me, I was trying to figure out what the heck just happened? And at this point, I want to preface to say that I will probably be using a lot of allegedlys and a lot of apparentlys because I'm not trying to get sued. And also, I am no stranger to fandom discourse. It's par for the course when you're in fandom, it's gonna happen. I've been in the fandom game long enough to know that it exists, and sometimes you just gotta ride through it. That being said, I'm well aware that oftentimes, most of the discourse usually happens from a small select group of individuals within the fandom, and they do not represent the fandom as a whole. They just so happen to be the loudest people in the room, making the situation toxic as heck. I also want to preface by saying that the individuals that are causing the problems also do not represent the bigger group of individuals that those smaller individuals belong to. In regards to why we got to this point of infold paper games just canceling this character outright, because you have to understand, a lot of time and a lot of effort goes into developing these characters. They have to like rig and mod and design, because these are very detailed designs and animations involved. Like, there's a lot of effort and time that goes into making these characters. So my heart goes out to the development team that was working on Valco, because I can't imagine you pulling up to work one day and then just like, yeah, so all that work you just spent all that time and effort on, yeah, we're cutting it, babes. But back to the question at hand, why and how did this happen? It gets a little confusing because a lot of things happened all at once. Most of it is very unrelated to the character himself. It's more so of a reaction to other things involved in the game. It's just one of those things where like everything just sort of aligns in like a perfect storm, and it's like, oh God, okay. That being said, there are some valid concerns that were had, others not so much, in my opinion. There were like 3 valid reasons that I could find that people had, not in regards to Valco as a character, but more so bringing him on as a new lead, as a new update to the game. The issues that were being had were happening prior to Valco even being released. I understand in some semblance why this would be upsetting, because you've been shouting essentially, hey, fix this, we're upset about this, and this is the response you get. It's like, no, this is not the response I wanted. It's really messy, y'all. The first one involves the number 731 in that sequence. Those 3 numbers relate to a tragic event that happened back in World War II involving a facility deemed as Unit 731. If you look into it, it is devastating, to say the least, involved with a lot of inhumane medical experimentation on Chinese civilians. It goes against every ethical obligation that medical researchers are supposed to have. Learning about this, that's a heavy read, especially that no justice was ever given. With that in mind, it's understandable to see why those numbers in that sequence will give anyone who understands their history to realize, hey, why would you have those numbers? You know what those numbers mean to our history. Don't put those in there in that sequence, especially because the game does involve human experimentation to a degree. I think they ended up removing it, but in one of Xavier's stories that was released back in April that discusses experimentation, they have those numbers involved. These numbers also would show up in like the Catch-22 designs, and their reasoning as to why those were showing up was like, oh, it was just like a random number generated. Like, it was just a placeholder. We didn't think about it. And it's like, you didn't think about it. Well, it's being brought to your attention now. Fix that shit, bro. The second piece of criticism that a lot of people were having with this new update with this new character was that they were still waiting on a main story update for Caleb and for Silas, which is understandable, especially considering this game takes so long to come up with new main story updates. Like, Silas had a main story update along with Zane back in May of 2025, and then Xavier and Raphael had a main story update in January of 2026. Every 6 months, you get like a new main story update. So at this point, we were overdue for a main story update, which technically we would have gotten just with Valco. And who knows, had this release happened, it would have been simultaneously a Valco and a Caleb main story. Or if it was just Valco, maybe like a couple months later, we're gonna get the Caleb main story. If that's how they want to do it, that's how they want to do it. I don't know. The third point of criticism that a lot of people were having was in regards to the wishing pool. Love and DEEPSPACE, it is a gacha game. Every 50 pulls that you do, you'll get a 5-star card. Typically with every banner, there's like a new card that's being up for grabs and has a higher chance in the pool. And so if you make your 50-50, you'll get that card. If you lose your 50-50, you're guaranteed to get that card in the next 50-50, right? The issue stems with the fact that the cards are not balanced. There's a major card disparity between the original 3 characters, Xavier, Zane, and Raphael, and the newer characters, Silas and Caleb. I think the original 3 characters, they all had 90 cards like each. That's including 5-star, 4-star, and 3-star, whereas Silas and Caleb have maybe 40 to 50 cards, which isn't a lot. Like, honestly, take Xavier, for example. If you're not pulling for his 5-star, he has a good amount of 4-star cards, right? He's got a lot. And then he's got the classic 3-star cards that you can get just whatever. Same thing with Zane. You know, if you're not pulling for 5-star cards with Zane, he has a solid amount of 4-star cards. What's specific about these cards is like if you're actually playing the game, like with the combat, the higher the card level is, the easier it is to clear the levels, to progress, to get more diamonds, to get more prizes and stuff. The stats on the lower cards aren't that great, and I honestly don't understand most of it to begin with. I just know I'm like, oh, I'll level up the big cards and I'll like level up the proto cards for those cards. Like, I don't. It took me so long to try to figure out how the Genshin artifacts work. I'm not even gonna try to figure out this shit out, bro. I'm so serious. If you wish for like all the 5-star cards, you get a decent amount of 5-star cards, but regardless, you're still gonna get enough 4-star cards for those characters if you don't want to whale or farm for enough diamonds to be able to pull for them. You'll have enough to work with. However, if we look at like Silas, you know, he's got a solid amount of like 5 stars, but his 4-star cards are abhorrent. Like in comparison to Xavier and Zane, he does not have that many. It's even worse for Caleb. I don't know how I have so many 5-star Caleb cards. I think most of these are from the general wish pool, but his are even worse. Like, he's got so little 4-star cards, and then his 3-star cards are just minimal at best. So you already have these new characters who don't have enough cards, and if people want to play with those characters, they don't have many options to choose from. To then add a 6th character, which is gonna add more disparity within the choosing of the cards, it's just like, oh my god, bro, I can't afford this.
In addition to that point, the only other possible way to get more 4-star cards, aside from getting them in the gacha pool that is in the Galaxy Explorer after a certain point in the pity, or whenever there's like main character events and that's an offer as well. Aside from those options, which are the free-to-play options if you're trying to be a free-to-play player, the only other way to get 4-star cards is by purchasing them in the Promise banner. That in and of itself cycles through only 2 characters like every month. For the newer characters, you're still not guaranteed to get more 4-star cards for them specifically. Like, it'd be one thing if after the Promise banner ends with those new 4-star cards, they are then available in the wish pool. Then it'd be like, okay, cool, everyone has then a shot to get it. But like, those cards are specifically Promise banner, which does require you to purchase them. Like, sure, you get more benefits through like the rest of the time that Promise banner is running, but still, not everyone has the funds or wants to dish out the money to do that. Additionally, I forgot to mention that there are other perks aside from combat that come with the 4-star cards. It comes with an audiobook, essentially a small little short story, so there's more content in that aspect. That's also something to consider for people who want more content pertaining to the lad of their choice if they just so happen to be the newer boys, which would be Silas and Caleb. And I guarantee you, had Valco been released when he originally was supposed to, he also would have been victim to this card disparity, okay?
People were asking, hey, can you give us more cards? Can you fix the lack of equity between all these cards? Because the math is not mathing. Obviously, a lot of those don't have to deal with Valco as a character himself. It's just more so the content of the game and asking, what are you gonna do about this? Please fix this issue. However, Nothing is ever easy. Nothing is ever nice. Some people were taking those valid concerns and sort of using them as ammunition for the reasons why they didn't like Valco. And you want to know what those reasons were as to why they didn't like Valco? Mind you, we did not have access to him. Like, he was not open to the public yet. We technically knew nothing about it. We didn't know what his story was like. We didn't know how he was getting involved in MC's life. Because this is the thing, right? All these characters, everything that's happening in the main story, they're all intertwined. They all cross paths at some point. So nobody knew, nobody technically knew what he was gonna be like in the game, but it didn't matter because they didn't like him. And the reasons why, oh my God. I found an article that talks about this. There's one line in it that takes me out. In just one day, consumer rights platform Zhao Fei Bao, I'm not saying that right, I'm so sorry, registered 22,000 complaints about the character, with fans citing dislike of its design and paper game's violation of their rights by failing to inform them of its addition in advance. Bro, they informed you when the teaser trailer dropped. That was them letting you know, hey, a new bombshell is entering the villa. Basically, it comes down to the claim that he ruined the aesthetic of the game. What does that mean, you might ask? They thought that Valco was scary and muscular, which is a problem. Do you know why they made him so muscular? Because he works out, I'm guessing? Like, he's always running around on all fours, so. It's because he's gay. What? He's gay. I love learning. Beauty standards are so crazy, bro. Like, honestly, they really are subjective to a person and they people, because what? Imagine being told because you're buff, you're gay. Like, aside from that, a lot of people were claiming he's too westernized. He's for the Western audience, which is... okay, really weird thing to say, but all right. They also thought that he was too tan, which, bro, if you look at this lineup, is the tan in the room with us right now? Also, why is that a problem? Your colorism is showing. That's hecka weird. They claimed that he was abusive, which is like, don't know where you got that from because we don't know him. And that also he was perpetuating predator behavior by showing up on her balcony. Honestly, people need to put more respect on MC because she is a menace. The argument is saying like, oh, he's like, Valco's dangerous to MC. Like, she's like, have you met her? She is constantly shooting first and asking questions later. Like, this girl do not give a fuck. Sometimes I'm like, girl, why are you doing that? Can we relax? In one of the trailers, MC is like on the phone with her coworker Tara, and then all of a sudden he pulls a freaking Cat Noir and he's like on her balcony. I'm like, oh, who are you talking to? Can I come inside? Can we hang out? Let's have tea. Let's hang out. Because he's a freaking dog. He's supposed to hang out with you and play Jenga for some reason. I don't. All he does is like mess around, like nuzzle with MC, like, like he's so cute and I'm so mad. I wasn't even gonna pull for him. Now I'm like emotionally attached to this character. I'm like, God dang it. But they were claiming that because he's showing up at her house that he was dangerous to MC, and this sort of behavior was gonna tell people that this is fine behavior to show up at people's houses, because there was verbiage along the lines of letting a wolf inside of your house. And I guess in China, they refer to people as like predators as wolves. Which I feel like that's a stretch, but I don't know. I feel like if you can't discern from fiction and reality, it's getting parasocial. You need to log off. The thing that boggles my mind is like, I feel like a lot of people are forgetting that all the other guys, they've also done very suspect shit in the past. Like when you meet Silas, okay, he
Chokes you out.
and keeps you in his house and interlinks with you until you guys like bond or whatever. Shady as heck. Caleb, in my opinion, is the spookiest one yet. No shade to Caleb, girlies. Love you, love your man. He has his moments where I'm like, you know what, he's a silly guy. I'm just glad he stopped calling us Pipsqueak. I'll be so real with you. But when Caleb comes back into the game, and it's like, oh my God, my not brother is not dead. Wow. There's at one point where you're in his house and he's threatening to hold you hostage. He's like, I don't want to give you back to the world. Why don't I just kept you here? When that scene happened, I was like, wow, it's getting a little spooky here. Like, are we forgetting that? Even my man, he has no excuse because he is a little obsessive to the point where like, bro, you need to relax. Just because I didn't text you immediately, you do not need to be so possessive. You need to just back up a little bit. Give me some space. Raphael needs to know where you are every moment of the day because he's so worried you're gonna disappear again, which I get trauma, whatever the fuck. Zane and Xavier have their own shit as well. Like Zane, bro is a doctor, but he's also killing people and getting away with it, but it's like fine because they're not really people, they're like monster people. It's just kind of a double standard, I fear. All the guys have done weird shit. Not to mention this game, what makes it interesting is the complexities with the dark themes involved with it, okay? I don't understand why now Now suddenly we're having a problem. As a result of hatred for this new character, some players ended up sending allegedly funeral wreaths and cow dung to the employees that worked at Infold at Paper Games from a safety issue. That's very scary. That's really unnecessary. Why are we spending our hard-earned money to do this? That's jobless behavior, which I know y'all aren't, because the only way you're getting the cars that you're getting is if you're wailing on it. So why? That in and of itself is we need to address the elephant in the room, because he keeps asking to be addressed and we just keep not doing it. It was finally getting to a point, mind you, this is happening in the span of like 3 days. It was getting to the point where Infold had to respond. And this is what they gave us. There's like 2 main takeaways from this. And the first one is that Valco is canceled. The second one, which devastated me, because while they said, oh, Valco's been canceled, they also said, oh, we've also are canceling any future leads. We were gonna have more than 6? They decided to cancel the launch and any further development of new love interest. The update was gonna go as such. You know, they're still gonna update the new changes to the home and the AR photo booth, as well as a limited time cycle 5-star memory rate up event for like the general wish pool. Then they stated what they were gonna do moving forward. The entire team will focus on further development of stories and long-term companionship experiencing of our 5 existing love interests while ensuring a stable pace of main story production and updates. Raphael's new solar slot memories and companion will be revealed in July. He's getting another one? Oh my god, bro. Okay. Far Space Colonel Captain and Anaconda's Leader Silas will also return in their main story branches of September and November, respectively. By participating in the relevant events, players will be able to obtain blah, blah, blah for free. And then they decided, starting from this release in 30 days, they were going to get every player that logged in a free Deep Space wish so that you can use on any banner that you get for like the new banners that like show up. So you get a total of 30 wishes for every 30 days you log in. And then they say, to our community, once again, we apologize because our actions, the joy you should have found in Lincoln City became a source of distress, and the feelings you hold most dear were hurt. We are deeply sorry for the hurt and disappointment we have caused. Love in Deep Space has always been about sharing love with you and protecting the love we all hold dear. The purpose has never wavered. Every step forward taken by the love interest in Lincoln City from its beginning, where Stand Back, has shaped by your feedback, your passion, and your trust. It is your presence, care, and companionship that gives this world its meaning and us the strength and direction to move forward. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you. We're learning. We're growing. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. The way that I've been explaining this situation to people is that what Infold did, it's essentially like setting your house on fire because there's a spider on your kitchen floor. What the frick do you mean? I think the thing that's really frustrating especially, it's the every step forward has been shaped by your feedback, your passion, your trust, which is not true if you're a global fan, because global fans have been saying for the longest time that one of the things they really want changed is that they wanted the lighting to be changed specifically for like the darker skin tones, because one of the things that actually made me took an initial interest in this game was the fact that like you can customize your character to look like you in terms of like face, but also in skin tone. And it's not just like the typical like very pale and tan. It's got the pale and tan, but also it's got varieties of like skin color, which I was very surprised by this because I knew this was like a Chinese game. I was not expecting that from that, but seeing that that was an option made me feel like, oh my god, I can actually be seen in this game. I can actually be seen with these characters and like actually immerse myself in this experience. Because as someone that grew up on YN fanfiction where the reader is clearly white with brown hair and blue eyes, your brain kind of just automatically assumes that whatever YN MC character you're playing is always going to be of the pale white vernacular. And so to be given a game where, you know, you have a character that looks and resembles like you and in the game is loved by these characters that do enjoy you, which I know is the bare minimum, but a win is a win in my book. It made me want to play this game and it really sparked that interest in it. And so one of the criticisms that a lot of global players were having, especially if their character had like a darker skin tone, was that the lighting in the game never took in the skin tones account, because a lot of the times it just would completely black out the character, or it would wash out the character in the way that it unrealistically would look in real life. Global fans were pointing this out to Infold. They didn't do jack shit about that. And it's like, to hear that they've taken our feedback and this is the decision they made, it's like, no, you didn't.
Okay, slight tangent, but since we're already talking about controversies and incidents, I might as well just include this as well. In regards to MC, I don't know if there's an overlap between the players that did not like Valco that ultimately are the reason why we are in this current situation. I don't know if there's an overlap between those kind of players and the players that hate MC. So there is a specific group of players that do not like MC. And the reason why they do not like her is because she apparently gets in the way of them with their man. which doesn't make sense to me because last I checked, you were MC! MC is you! You're in the game! She's you in the game! What are you talking about? Bro's literally Xavier jealous of Lumiere. Like, dog, that is you! What are you talking about? Anyway, so if you select fans that have this issue, we're bringing this up. And again, I don't know if this is related because recently, one of the types of banners that this game will have is a free banner. If you log in for a certain amount of days, you get a free 5-star card. It's called a heartfelt gift. It happens every couple of months and they have a new lead that is up for grabs for a new card. The one that just recently passed was a card of Zane. And in that card, you have this really cute moment when you're on the beach with Zane, you're taking really cute photos. Oh my God, it's so cute. But the thing is, at the end of this card, Zane goes to take a selfie with you, except the camera blocks your face, which is bizarre for a lot of reasons. This is such a huge regression in the gameplay because, like I've said, I've been in this game since the very beginning. So I've noticed when things have changed and when things have evolved. Up until, I believe, the nightly rendezvous banner, the amount of actual FaceTime we saw of our character MC in the actual 5-star kindled animated like cards, there were not many. Like at most you got maybe the back of her head or a brief side profile. Like you didn't really often see her face. It wasn't until the nightly rendezvous when you're full on making out with him where you actually get to see your character like on screen with the lad of your choice. And then from that point on, there's been more cards where you can actually see more of your character in the card and actually interact with him, which in my opinion is great. It adds more to the immersion. It gives more screen time to your own personalized, customized character. Like, I feel like that's fine. So for this to happen is so bizarre to me because it's not like, oh, it's only in the limited banners that you get to see yourself with a lead. No, the one before Zane, which was a Raphael heartfelt gift, you get to see MC's face there. The one before that with Xavier, you also get to see her face there. I don't know why now all of a sudden we're redacting that privilege. That to me is bonkers. So if this is another situation that's also tied to these changes that Infold is making where they're catering, you can't see what I'm doing air quotes around the word catering, to the complaints that certain players have been having. Oh my God, how do they keep missing the mark?
Instead of actually addressing those issues, what Infold did was they just kind of used Valco as a scapegoat and said, oh, nobody likes Valco, so we're gonna get rid of Valco. And also maybe touch on these other issues that like people have been yelling at us for like a long time. But the issue is Valco. That's the problem they have. It's like, no! I mean, yes, some players didn't like him because they thought his design was too Western and didn't meet their taste, but also it's like they can just scroll. That's the beauty of having free will. If you don't like something, you don't have to engage with it. You can move on. You don't have to be there in the room when it happens. Infold would then go on to cancel a lot of events. They canceled Valco's appearance at Anime Expo. Also, I'm assuming pulled any free giveaway stuff that they might have had for him. They also canceled their event at Billy World, which is one of East Asia's biggest anime pop culture events that they have there. And usually I see those events online. The Love and DEEPSPACE events, they go hard, but they did give like full travel compensation to people that were coming to Billy for their event, which I guess is nice. They also went in and they made some changes to the Catch-22 designs where, remember I said they had those numbers, they ended up just kind of scribbling them out. And then I think they made changes to the World Underneath story that involved the numbers 731. So they did have the capability to make those changes. I just don't understand why they needed to do all that other stuff with Valco first in order to, like, it's just like, what? I don't understand. Not to mention, canceling Valco as a character leads to a lot more issues within like the storyline of the game. Because like I said earlier, all these characters and their stories, they're intertwined with each other. And Valco, before he even was released, he was hinted at very early on throughout the game. He was supposed to be a foil essentially for Raphael. Xavier and Silas, they're foils of each other. Caleb and Zane. Valco would have been Raphael's foil. And also we've seen them interact within the game. And also when I was trying to catch up on the main story, because I was gonna catch up on the main story, because I haven't done that yet, because of Valco. I want to see what his business was about. When you start Xavier's story from the January update, there's a character that is very obscured and you don't know who he is and why he's interrogating this doctor. That's Valco! Not to mention, his character would have brought in so many more answers regarding the big antagonist of the game known as Ever and how it relates to the Gaia research and how that all relates to MC, because she's like a calamity that appears every extinction or something. Honestly, whenever I try to think about the lore of this game, I just get so confused. I'm pretty good when it comes to reading comprehension, but sometimes I'm like, we're just saying things because what does any of this mean? Valco would have added so much more context to the main story lore, and so to just like cancel him retcons a lot of stuff that has already happened. Means that they have to go back and change so many things to like fit the story that they initially wanted to tell, and especially now that no more love interests are gonna happen, it's like, okay, well, where are we going with the story then? Because clearly now you gotta make shit up at the last second. So that was the release. It wasn't great. Everyone's very upset, but we move forward. We press on. The July 9th update happened. Version 6.0 came out. And oh my god, I don't understand why I need to have an extra 27 gigs of space just for this game. Like when Caleb was first rolled out, he only needed like 12, 15 extra gigs of space. Why the frick do I need 27 for like a 12 gig update? People were theorizing that the reason why they didn't essentially delete Valco, they just kind of hid him behind code because I guess that's easier to do instead of just outrighting deleting information. I guess that takes more time and energy. So like he's in the game, you just can't access him, and because of that, he's like cursing the game because the amount of people I've seen where like their 5-star animation in combat are fucked. There's been so many glitches in the home where it's like, whoa, why is this happening? Like, it's just been a mess, girl. So, where do we go from here? Girl, I have no idea. I wish I did though, because I am tired. Aside from all this nonsense, there have been some good things that have been happening in the fandom, at least, in support of Valco and to bring attention to how much most of the fans really want him. This is including global and Chinese players. People that do want him have been doing a lot of really cool things. One of the things I think is really dope is that fans have been raising money for wolf wildlife conservation. They've raised over $30,000, which is crazy. That's so dope. Fans have also got him a star. They bought a star, so his name is in space. There have been petitions that are made and signed, and also big internet personalities are also talking about this whole situation, which is crazy because why the heck does Queso know about this? Leave that nice man alone.
Additionally, I want to add that at Anime Expo there was a tree shrine that evolved into a second tree shrine for Valco, and it was absolutely incredible. In a surprising twist, a lot of Chinese media outlets and the government ended up clearing the allegations that were being thrown of Valco being a very abusive, predatory character, and they were essentially saying, yeah, no, he's not like that. Don't know why y'all are saying this because it's not true. Essentially, everything that's happened had no reason to happen. All this is just a nightmare situation because of all the ways to handle it, personally, I feel like this wasn't the way. Like, if anything, they could have announced, we see that there's been a little bit of an issue, so we're just gonna delay the rollout for Valco and come back to this at a later time. Like, I feel like that would have been fine instead of just canceling the boy. Because it's like, if the issue was him being a wolf, then just change it so he's a freaking fox or something. Watch, that's actually what his mythos was gonna be. He was gonna be like a 9-tailed freaking kitsune. Final thing I want to add is that a lot of people still have hope that he's gonna come back. I'm constantly seeing things on threads. I downloaded threads just to be up to date with what's going on in the fandom. A lot of people are theorizing that he's gonna come back soon and that the developers are trying to talk to the fans through the game. Like, one of the biggest examples I've seen is in relation to the recent heartfelt gift that I mentioned earlier. If you look at Zane's banner, the G in that post of the word gift looks like a 6, which is different because in all the previous ones, the G looks like a regular G. What does the G stand for? So some people have been thinking, oh my god, you guys, the developers are telling us there's still gonna be 6 love interests. Valco's coming back. Which, you know what? Slay. Keep manifesting, girl. Let's keep this energy going.
There's been a lot of hope that Valco will come back and that this is just a minor setback. We're really just hoping that Infold will re-examine everything that's been happening for the past couple of weeks and actually listen to their consumers.
Yeah, that's not happening. Or at least if it's happening, it's not happening anytime soon.
Update.
Swear to God, I don't know who's running this company because who thought this was a good idea? On August 2nd, Infold decided to break their silence after letting everyone know, yeah, we're putting down the dog. What is it that they did? Well, they announced a new limited banner for Caleb where he's playing basketball. He's in his freaking Troy Bolton era. For that to be the first thing that they say, especially since a vast majority of the Let's community has been saying #bringbackvalko, and they're just gonna pull up this banner, is really gross, especially considering the fact that if you remember in that fuck-ass letter, they said what their steps were gonna be going forward. The first step, which is the point of this video, was them taking the dog out back, right? The second thing was them saying, we're gonna still push through the things that we had intended for this update, minus the dog. The third thing was them stating what other things they had planned and what we could look forward to. And so the next thing that we were expected to get was Raphael's new Mythos card. Okay, that's what the paperwork says was gonna happen. Which, if that's the case, Why the frick is Caleb here? Oh, I'll tell you why. It's because they're losing so much money. According to the AI overview, Infold used to make around $38 million in revenue from this game. However, because of recent events, they've lost a whopping $28 million over a dog, mind you, one of which they could have just brought back. They're losing so much money, so they're just like, oh shit, we gotta bring out the big guns. We gotta get Caleb, which is so crazy. And I know all the Caleb girlies are gonna want to pull for him because like he's big in the West and he's big in the home base. So they're thinking, okay, we can save some money with this. Obviously, you can do whatever you want. You can wish for this banner if you want, but I feel like it would be the biggest fuck you to Infold to not pull on this banner, especially because this banner does Caleb really dirty if you really think about it. He used to play basketball in his youth, and it's in his lore that his jersey used to be number 5. If you look at the jersey he's wearing, what is this? That is not a number. That's a weird rhombus hexagon shape. And I can't help but wonder if this is them just saying like, oh, you guys don't like any numbers, so we're getting rid of the whole concept of numbers. And then on top of that, I'm pretty sure this is another case of you can't see MC's face. Hold on, I think they posted the full thing on YouTube. Computer.
It's been a while since we played together.
Shut up.
Are we still gonna play against each other?
Do you want to die? You can kind of see her face. Also, why is she wearing her zookeeper uniform?
They say people steal glances at the ones they care about.
Shut the fuck up. You can't even see. Why is her head cropped out? It's a vertical game. Why? What? Huh? This is so stupid. Summer Surge. What do the comments say? Oh man, yes. Yes. The fandom, you know what? We are so tea. No one is letting Infold get up. That's the thing I will say is just like ever since they made this fuck ass release, if you look at the comment section, it's all pretty much people being like, where's Valco? Where's Valco? Give us Valco. And then every post after that, it's just continues to that. Cause like if you go back to their older posts, they don't get a lot of like comment engagement, but like now all the engagement is like, where's my freaking dog, bro? It's just incredibly frustrating. Cause like I was talking about this with like a live player I met at DashCon. Cause like as soon as all this drama happened, I went to like log in to see, by the way, sorry, I have peer reviewed ADHD, okay? My brain, ugh. The game is still broken because why on earth are there magenta birds at my wedding? Not to mention the entire XYZ axis, which is all over the place. Like, bro, what is happening? Anyways, back to the original point I was trying to make. I was talking to another Let's Player and we were kind of just agreeing on how ever since this whole Valco fiasco happened, anytime I like go into the game, because I've been having to go into the game to like get all the visuals I need to talk about the stuff in this video, but anytime I log in, it's like not fun anymore. I just don't have that same spark that I used to get. Just like, yeah, this is my fun little dating game and it's like so fun to like talk about it with like people online. But like now I go in and I'm like, I feel betrayed, which is such a non-issue in like the greater scheme of things in the current state of society. But for the point of this video, I just want to point out that the vibes are weird. Everyone has been vocally loud about how they want Valco back. He's been cleared of all charges. The people that caused this whole issue have been called out. Pretty much the drama has blown past. Genuinely, I don't know if it's like embarrassment on that part that they think, oh, we just have to keep sticking to this. And it's like, you can just take the L and give us the dog back. But like now, I feel like doing this just feels like a big F you to their community and being like, we don't really care what you have to say. We just want your money, which is so dumb because they try to market themselves where they listen to what their consumers like want. But it's clear that you don't. I don't know. I just wanted to like add this in real quick because this tea, I feel like makes this whole situation full circle, you know, which sucks to suck, but it is what it is. Of all the ways to go about this, I feel like Infold made this so much more worse by canceling this character because it's like you didn't actually address the issue at hand. A lot of people were really excited for this character. I was excited to see what he was going to bring to the main story. And honestly, when I look back at trailers and like see the potential he had and knowing that he was very involved in the game and in the lads' lives, like apparently he's actually friends with Caleb and Zane. Like him and Zane, I think went to like school together because Valco is like a scientist, and to a degree Zane is also a scientist. Valco is also the one who fixed Caleb's arm because, oh yeah, if you didn't know, Caleb has a metal arm. He's a freaking winter soldier. He was the one that fixed that shit for him, which is like, we could have had. I'm so tired. I'm so upset. That's what happens when I talk for so long. That's basically most of the tea that I can remember and recall. And I hope I explained it well. I'm not really good at speaking in some cases. Sometimes I know what I'm feeling, but sometimes I don't have the verbiage to say it correctly. I do apologize if I misspoke or contradicted myself. I don't think I did. I think I did a decent job. But in any case, that's pretty much what's been happening. Again, I don't know when this is getting up. I'm behind on all my videos, girl. If anything, if you were confused as
was, what the whole tea was. Now you have a better understanding of it. If you're like me and you're like, I'm reliving this moment every day of my life and I need to suffer with someone else, well, congratulations, you and I are suffering together. I do like playing Love in Deep Space. I think it's a fun game. It's fun to like bond with the community. It's fun to like have these fun cards. It is a fun game, and it just sucks that like as a player, the criticisms and the concerns you have are not heard in the way that you think should be heard and had. Like, I don't know. And unrelated news, this is my new OC, you guys. I think I'm gonna name him Valen. He's like a werewolf hybrid scientist. I'm debating on giving him glasses, just because I think it would really suit his like facial structure. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe, it is free. Follow me on my social medias. I'm always lurking on social media. You know, I'm always there. I do stream sometimes on Twitch. I'm trying to get better at streaming here on YouTube, but I'm more active there. Hang out in the chat. We have a great time over there. But yeah, no, that's it from me. I'm gonna go. Until next time, my dream believers and adventure seekers. Bye.